Right now, you are doing something your ancestors never did. You are sitting still, not recovering from a hunt, not hiding from a predator, not waiting out a storm with every nerve in your body on high alert. You are simply sitting in a climate-controlled room with nothing threatening you, nothing chasing you, and nothing demanding your immediate attention. And somehow, that feels unbearable. Within 60 seconds of genuine stillness, something inside you starts to itch. You reach for your phone. You flip on a video. You open a tab you already closed 3 minutes ago. You are not lazy. You are not weak-willed. You are running ancient software on a body that was never designed for this much quiet. Here is what no one tells you about boredom. It is not the absence of stimulation. It is a signal. And ignoring it might be one of the most dangerous things your modern life asks you to do every single day. In 2014, a psychologist named Timothy Wilson at the University of Virginia ran a study that should have made headlines everywhere. He put people in a plain, empty room and asked them to sit with their thoughts for 15 minutes. No phone, no book, nothing, just themselves. Most people hated it. But here's the part that changes everything. When Wilson gave those same participants a button that would deliver a mild electric shock, a third of the women and 2/3 of the men chose to shock themselves rather than sit in silence. They chose pain over stillness. Think about that. Your brain, right now, in your body, would rather experience something unpleasant than experience nothing at all. That is not a flaw. That is a feature. It was built into you over hundreds of thousands of years, and it kept your ancestors alive. Your brain is what scientists call a prediction engine. Every second you are conscious, it is scanning, comparing, anticipating. It is not designed to rest during waking hours. It is designed to find the next thing, the next threat, the next opportunity, the next meal. Neuroscientist Jaak Panksepp spent decades mapping the emotional systems of the mammalian brain and identified what he called the seeking system. It is not a metaphor. It is a physical circuit running through your hypothalamus and your brainstem, lighting up dopamine pathways, not when you get a reward, but when you are searching for one. Your brain is not rewarded by having. It is rewarded by hunting. This is why you feel a small but real surge of pleasure when you hear a notification sound before you even check what it says. The anticipation is the drug. The chasing is the high. And silence, genuine total silence with nothing to seek, turns that system off. And when the seeking system goes quiet, the brain interprets that not as rest, but as wrongness. Something is wrong. Something is missing. Find it. That is boredom. That is the signal firing. Now go back further. Back past civilization. Back past agriculture and fire and language. Back to the African savanna, roughly 200,000 years ago. Your ancestor is sitting at the edge of camp. The hunt is over. The fire is lit. There is nothing left to do. Do you think they sat there and stared at the sky for 3 hours? They did not. Because any hominid who allowed themselves to truly disengage from their environment in the wild was a dead hominid. The ones who survived were the ones whose brains never fully switched off. The ones who, even in moments of apparent rest, were still scanning, still cataloging, still noticing the sound in the brush and the change in the wind. Boredom was the early warning system that kept your lineage alive. But here is the counterintuitive twist. That same ancient alarm that once saved your life is now running continuously inside environments it was never built for, against threats that do not exist, at a frequency that is slowly grinding you down. Psychologist Sandy Mann at the University of Central Lancashire has studied boredom for over 2 decades and found something remarkable. Boredom is not neutral. It is not simply the absence of engagement. It is an active state. Your brain in a bored state is working hard. It is producing stress hormones. It is activating the same neural circuits associated with frustration, restlessness, and low-level anxiety. You do not simply feel bored. You experience boredom as a mild threat. And what do humans do with threats? They escape them. This is why the modern attention economy did not have to invent desire. It just had to exploit the one you already had. Every platform, every feed, every notification system is built on one simple insight. Your brain will always choose stimulation over stillness because stillness has always meant danger. You are not addicted to your phone. You are addicted to the hunting loop your phone has hijacked. Pull down to refresh, scroll to the next item, click the next link. Each of those actions mimics the variable reward structure of foraging in the wild. You do not know what the next berry bush will contain. You do not know what the next post will show. That uncertainty is not a bug in the design. It is the entire engine. B. F. Skinner discovered this in his famous operant conditioning experiments in the 1950s. Variable reward, not consistent reward, produces the strongest and most persistent behavior. A rat that receives a food pellet every single time it presses a lever will press the lever a predictable number of times. A rat that receives a pellet randomly, sometimes after one press, sometimes after 20, will press the lever obsessively. It will not stop. You are pressing the lever. And here's what that costs you. Beyond the obvious. Research published in the journal Psychological Science found that mind wandering, the kind that happens naturally when you are genuinely bored and not yet reaching for your phone, is one of the primary states in which the brain consolidates memory, solves problems it could not solve consciously, and generates creative insight. The default mode network, the brain's resting state system, is not resting. It is integrating. It is connecting dots. It is doing the work that focused attention cannot do, because focused attention narrows your view. Boredom, real uninterrupted boredom, opens it back up. Every major insight you have ever had while in the shower. Every solution that arrived, not when you were trying to solve a problem, but when you had stopped trying. That was your default mode network, doing exactly what it evolved to do when the hunting stopped. Your brain needs to be bored. Not the anxious, phone-reaching, notification-checking imitation of boredom you experience today. Real boredom. Empty time with nothing filling it. And your modern life is so thoroughly engineered to prevent exactly that most people alive today have not experienced genuine boredom in years. Think about the last time you waited in line without looking at your phone. Think about the last time you sat in a car as a passenger and just looked out the window for an hour. Think about the last time you lay in bed awake and did not immediately pick up a screen. If you cannot remember, that is not a small thing, because what you have lost is not just moments of quiet. You have lost the biological process by which your brain makes sense of your own life. Psychologist Mary Helen Imordino-Yang at the University of Southern California has studied what happens to adolescents who have no unstructured mental downtime, and her findings are alarming. Without time for the brain to turn inward, she argues, young people lose access to the processes that allow them to understand other people, to feel empathy, and to construct a stable sense of self. Boredom is not wasted time. It is the time your brain uses to build you. And now you are being systematically deprived of it. Here is the modern mirror. Every time you eliminate boredom before it can unfold, every time you reach for stimulation, the moment the silence gets uncomfortable, you are reinforcing the signal your nervous system sends. The discomfort grows more intolerable. The threshold drops lower. You need more input to feel the same baseline of, okay, this is not addiction in the clinical sense, but it is a loop, and the loop tightens. Wilson's participants shocked themselves rather than sit still. What would they have done with a smartphone? There is an experiment you can run on yourself. Not today necessarily, but the next time you feel that itch, that particular restless quality of a mind with nothing to lock onto, try not moving. Try not reaching. Try staying with it for 5 minutes, then 10, then longer. You will feel it first as discomfort, then as frustration, and then, if you hold on long enough, something will shift. Your brain will stop scanning for external input and turn inward. And you may find, to your surprise, that there is more going on in there than you thought. Your ancestors sat around fires with nothing but the dark and each other and the contents of their own minds. And from that stillness came stories and art and ritual and the first flickering of everything that eventually became the civilization that now makes it impossible to sit still for 60 seconds. You are still sitting at that fire. You just forgot to stop feeding it.